The challenge right now is we don't really have a consensus opinion about what value is and how do we define it? How do we know when we have it? How much are we willing to pay for it? And what's the voice? Who gets a seat at the table? And I think that's a big part of what the Innovation and Value Initiative is trying to parse out is what are some novel ways that we can look at value? How do we measure it? How can we provide tools to all the decision makers where they sit that helps them understand value from different angles? Knowing that there probably isn't one answer that fits every situation, but we need to lean in and we need to figure out how can we define value. And particularly, and this is my passion, is how can we make sure that we're incorporating the voice of the patient? We need to find those answers, but the only way we're going to get to answers that fit the most is to have an open and transparent conversation, and one in which we acknowledge that there are weaknesses in the way we're doing it now. We've got the resources to answer these hard questions, but we have to work together. If we rest on the answer of what we have is what we have and this is the best we can do, we're never going to innovate. And innovation isn't just about the technology of healthcare, the new drugs and the gene therapies and everything else. It's also about innovating in care delivery. We see all this discussion about integrated care, providing coverage for social determinants of health. Those are all really positive, forward-looking, lean-in kind of concepts to improving care in this country. So when we talk about value assessment, we need to approach it with the same thing in mind, that what we have, even if we've used traditional cost effectiveness for the last 50 years and it's been good enough, it's not good enough now. We have more data that tells us that patients are not the same, that patients represented in clinical trials give you an average, but an average doesn't answer every question about what's optimal approaches to care for a patient in a different subgroup. And when we get down to trying to compare effectiveness and cost and come up with an answer that says this is the most valuable care, we need to be more confident that we're leaning in and coming up with the best methods to answer that question from multiple perspectives.